Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. We have New Japan Jared, Ray, and myself, KP, here to talk wrestling. And we're going to start out with Impact. I was the only one allowed to watch it this week because of technical difficulties at the Jared abode.
Yeah, it was not my fault. No, that was
difficulties.
Impact related. Their stream wasn't working.
Their Impact stream wasn't working. Okay. Well, I was lucky I was watching on Access TV, so my stream was all right. So I'll just kind of talk through this real quickly. Rosemary versus Susie.
I did see this match.
And Taya. And Susie and Kylie Ray versus Rosemary and Taya. And I like Rosemary being a little more vocal.
Yes.
Pretty good little matchup. And
Kylie goes over with the smile to the finish, I think Josh called it. It's an STF.
Yeah. Yes. And Kylie Ray is going to wind up in something with Taya to put her a little bit further up on the thing. And Susie, she's going to turn.
Yeah.
She's going to be undead again soon.
It's a time bomb, you know?
It's a time bomb waiting to explode. Yes. This show, oh my God. Swingman's got a plan. He has to find an outfit in order to be ringside for Bay's title match. So he's going to go looking for...
He's going to be incognito?
Sort of. Jake and Cody Deaner, TJP, Falaba, Reno Scum, Triple X. A lot of action, back and forth. The Deaners wind up going over. Reno Scum and TJP, Falaba, wind up fighting their way backstage. He winds up jumping off the cherry picker, but it's inside, so it's in the hallway, so it's not like he's very high up. So it's kind of weird because he's kind of can't really jump up because he'll hit the roof. It was fine. Reno Scum winds up standing when all the brawling is over. The Swingman is now backstage. Johnny Swinger is going through everyone's gear. He finds Eric Young's Super Eric gear, and he said maybe for the hotel later. But then he finds Suicide's gear, and he puts it on.
I did see a clip from the match he had.
Yes. Throwback match where the beautiful people are in a lockdown match with Tara. That was pretty good, too. And I'm assuming that means that somebody in that group, Madison Rain, is going to be there, obviously. She said she's going to wrestle. But maybe one of the two, Beautiful Velvet Sky or the other one, or Tara One will show.
Isn't Velvet Sky like Bully Ray's?
Yes, significant other. She sure is. Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock, world's most dangerous tag team. Why would we be together? Who knows? And Sami Callihan said, yes, it's like the scorpion and the frog, which is probably not a good omen.
No, is that a reference to the 5 Venoms?
It could be a reference to the 5 Venoms, or it could be a reference to the scorpion could get across the water, and the frog says, I'll take you across, and they get halfway over, and the scorpion stings the frog, and as they're both, one's going to drown and one's going to die, the frog says, why'd you do that? And he says, it's in my nature. So,
nice. Getting dude, Sting inspired so many different parables.
Sting, yes. That all harkens back to Sting.
Yes.
Yes, the scorpion death drop. Kimberly versus Jordani Grace. Jordani she's just big and strong. Kimberly's fine. She's just got to work a little bit more, I think. But the Grace driver is a great move. Peraza tells Jordan she doesn't frivolously fight. Therefore, you will have to await me at Slammiversary. Eddie Edwards, Trey, Ace. They basically, who's going to be the mystery opponent, and they're basically doing a shot, pieced together footage promoting the heavyweight title match, and they show you Kurt Angle, Sting, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson, EC3, Eric Young, Kurt Hawkins, Gallows, Anderson, Bully Ray, Mike Kanellis. Basically everybody they had footage on that is still wrestling or kind of sort of still wrestling, they teased could possibly be your mystery opponent for this match. And it's got to be Sting.
got to be Sting, dude.
Or Kurt Hawkins.
One last match.
Dude, if it was Kurt Hawkins, how great would that be? And the big surprise.
I pop. I mean,
Sure, why not? I like Kurt Hawkins. Okay. Swinger is dressed as Suicide except for the shirt. His chest is hanging out.
He exposes his chest. Dude, you can't cover the goods. You know what I mean? He doesn't go to the gym for, 2 hours a week to get that, Right.
Willie Mack rolls up on him, and I think Willie may know who he is because he reminds him that we have a match later tonight.
Yes.
Which is great. And he can't remember. He acts like he can't remember Johnny Swinger's name. And remember that dude that was following me around for a while and that kind of thing? And then Swinger has to turn his head away, lift his mask, whisper his own name, and Willie can go, yeah, that's his name. That's his name. And, Suicide never talks, but right here he does. Okay, it's so funny. Locker room talk. Madison Rayne is going to interview herself, which is great, until Kiera Hogan and... what's the name?
Tasha Steelz.
Tasha Steelz roll up, and they're like, what are you doing? And then Havoc and Naven roll up, and Nevaeh, roll up, and then we wind up with another fight in the, what do you call that room? The locker room. And they wind up having a little fight there. Cruz to Hernandez versus, they're setting up a Hernandez Rhino arm wrestling match, which will be a big event at some point.
Yes. Hopefully it's Slammiversary.
Yes, I would like to see him just stop everything and do that in the middle of the ring.
Yes.
Absolutely. Willie Mack versus Johnny Swinger as Suicide. And it is not a Suicide match at all. It is more of a, dude, Swinger tries to do a couple of Suicide moves and just fails at it and winds up losing. He almost choked himself falling off the top rope. It was like a self-stunner that led to a Willie Mack stunner. It was pretty good. Okay.
Dude, Johnny Swinger, every single moment he's on the screen is just so entertaining.
He's the best.
He makes the most out of every single moment.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
And then Tommy Dreamer is going to read a statement from his lawyer, Touche Moose. His lawyer is Tricky Dicky Heyman.
Listen, man.
And he says, I'm sorry about what I said. I know that words can hurt. And the TNA committee has awarded Dreamer a title match for a belt that doesn't exist. And Moose is a flat earther. And Moose is like, I don't believe that was a sincere apology. And there is no TNA. He winds up acknowledging that there's no TNA because he says there's no TNA committee, which, okay, well, how do you have a belt? It's no, that kind of thing. It's well done. Callahan versus Ken Alexander's next, and they have a good little match. And Callahan winds up winning. Once Paige tries to help out and cheat, Shamrock comes running down and puts him in an ankle lock. Sammy gets the pile driver on Alexander for the win. A nice, quick, painless episode of Impact. I enjoyed it very much. Let's go to something that is important. Fyter Fest, AEW. You saw this in its entirety.
In its entirety, live.
And in color. Private Party versus Paige and Omega for the tag team championships. Back-to-back tag team championship matches at Fyter Fest for Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. What did you think about this?
I liked this match quite a bit. I thought it was a great showing for Private Party. I still feel like they're occasionally rough around the edges, maybe, but man, they're just good.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting better at it at an incredible rate.
Right.
And I think this was great for them.
Good deal. Yeah, of course, your champs
retain,
and they did retain but they got to use their combo move together this time around.
The Last Call, which is a dope name, dude.
Right. Joey Janela versus Lance Archer. What'd you think about that?
I like this match. It was appropriately violent. Which is, that's what I want from a Joey Janela match and from a Lance Archer match.
Right. Now, then Taz comes out.
Right.
Well, first Darby Allin jumps into a bunch of fluffy squares from very high up.
Travis Pastrana.
Wonderful. Then Taz comes out and makes a major announcement, and he is going the Moose route.
going the Moose route of having a fake title belt.
Right. Did you feel like did you watch Cage during the segment? Did it feel like he was kind of looking at it like, wow?
I can see that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was fun. It felt like once I think he realized, oh yeah, that's right, I'm on television. He was able to change the look on his face a little bit and act like he was all in. But for a minute or two there, it was just like, man, you know, I'm Cage. I don't need a fake belt. I can go get that real one, you know. But anyway, whatever. It's the FTW Taz belt that we will be defending, I guess.
I mean, I like it as like a prop to just like.
And it's something you can sell.
Yes, merchandising.
Yes,
it's a T-shirt and merchandise.
Yes. Get masks going immediately.
Yes,
so people can have FTW masks. And so now we're giving away belts on 3 channels. To paraphrase Cody Rhodes, right?
Oh my God! I don't think he'll stick around, and I think Mox will probably pick it up and throw it in the garbage. You know what I mean?
FTR and the Bucks versus Lucha Brothers, Butcher Blade, No Bunny. This was great, right?
Good Lord, this match was a lot.
I missed the Lucha Brothers.
I missed them, dude. I feel like they actually had good chemistry with Butcher and the Blade too.
Yeah,
I think Butcher and the Blade quite cool.
Oh yeah,
this match was crazy.
Actually, this has been a good month for the Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah,
they had kind of disappeared, and FTR has kind of brought. First of all, FTR kind of made it cool in the company to do what Butcher and the Blade were doing anyway, and then you also tag that on top of they're on opposite sides of the they want to fight each other basically.
Yes.
And then you put them in there in a match where Young Bucks are doing what the Lucha Brothers are doing. FTR is doing what the Butcher and Blade are. It makes sense, and it allows you to equalize the Butcher and the Blade to the other 3 tag teams in your mind, right? And I thought it was well done.
It wasn't my favorite match of the night because it did become a little spot heavy for me.
You think?
but okay, that's what it was going to be, and that's what it is.
All of these are spot heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I will say that spot, and I'm not saying that it's just like personal taste. It was a bit too much for me, but that spot with the like Canadian Destroyer outside of the ring was probably the wildest spot I've seen all year. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Like just the mechanics of that.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
It was hard. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, and Nick Jackson and Phoenix, they had this really cool moment where they kind of just like hopped up to the top rope and then just did like a Hurricane Rana, and it was just like, how?
Right.
How? Those two are superhuman.
Well, the fact that they were able to balance on opposite sides of the ropes while they're kind of interacting with each other, and then they get
They hop up to the top, and then, dude, the rotation Nick gets. It's so quickly. It's insane.
And you can't do that without it being Phoenix on the other side.
No.
Right? I mean...
And again, it's just like these kinds of matches are great for just making my jaw drop and just be like, oh my God,
how
Phoenix
did you do
is
that?
a superhuman.
Right.
Nick Jackson's a freak of nature.
Right. Correct.
But then you also get, Butcher and the Blade and FTR doing some good tag team wrestling as well. It was a good mix.
Absolutely. And you wind up with the right result, I felt like.
Yes.
Pentagon and Phoenix wind up, Matt winds up kicking one of the FTR upside the head.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know exactly what that combo sit-down pile driver is at Phoenix and like what the name of it is.
I don't remember. I don't think they have a name.
It was...
It's a great move. I love that move.
Great move. Matt gets put away. 1, 2, 3, and now...
I mean, FTR didn't seem too torn up about it. You know what I mean?
Yet.
But
you did kick him in the head, so we'll see how that plays out long term.
I don't know. I'd like to see sometimes just things happen in the heat of battle.
Sure. Now, Cody eats wings next.
Cody eats wings.
Okay, and then we get Big Swole isn't allowed in ring or stadium. She drove
I like how she showed
3
up at
hours.
9 o'clock.
It was a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, I mean, but like, she showed up like halfway through the show.
Right, and wasn't scheduled to wrestle, so why was she even supposed to be there unless she was looking for trouble, which is why it was correct that she was not allowed in the building.
I believe she was looking for trouble, actually.
Nyla Rose squashes Kenzie Page, Keelan King, and announces she's going to get a manager. Who's going to be the manager?
Who do you think is going to be the manager?
Who do you think?
Who do you think?
Nobody on the show yet?
You think so? Think it's not going to be Brandy Rhodes?
Wow.
No, I don't think it's going to be Brandy.
Because that would put her in there with the brothers, which wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. People have thrown out Vicky Guerrero.
Oh wow, that'd be great. I don't know exactly how that works because I haven't seen Nyla do a lot of comedic stuff.
Yeah, that's been my thing with it. Is just like Vicky is great as either being annoying or funny.
Right.
Or funny through being annoying.
Correct.
Which is not
it's
exactly...
one thing.
Yes. Not exactly Nyla's vibe.
Taz?
Nyla's funny, but not...
Dude,
the same way. Taz?
Could you put her in there with Taz, and could he do separately? Because I don't think they would walk to the ring together, Cage and her, but Taz is the one who makes the most sense that's in the company right now.
I would agree with that, but I don't know who they would get.
She could join the Inner Circle.
Yes.
And Chris Jericho can be her manager.
Yes.
That works. Okay.
Yes.
All of that.
Who knows? We'll see. Maybe
all
next
right.
week.
Colt Cabana has...
oh my God.
He has a hematoma.
Holy
that looked
moly.
Oh, he looked bad. That looked like it hurt.
Rough.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what he did. Fall down
from his ribs to like his thigh was purple.
Oh,
and the match hadn't even started yet. And Brody Lee says, "Hey, buddy, that's not going to happen to you if you roll with us all the time." And so they go out there and they win a match with SCU, Colt, Stu, and Brody. I thought it was a well done match. I think Colt sliding into... He hasn't acknowledged it yet, but if he winds up in the New Order. What is their name?
The NWO, of course. No,
the New World Order. Okay, that's what I thought.
Dark.
The Dark Order.
Dark Order.
I'm so sorry. Yes, he winds up in there with Brody. It's going to be on, and I like it very much. You liked it?
I like the story in general. Just Colt not finding much success, and then he's just kind of, you can see how he would be lured in.
Correct. Well, dude, losing all the time and being thought of as a joke, that's cool, and he found a niche that made him a lot of money, but at some point, wouldn't you like to be taken seriously? Most people would. Britt Baker. It's time for Britt Baker, as she is drinking outside the ring. Swole sneaks past security and everyone else. And...
I love what Swole said about like the palm frond. She's like, "Why are you waving that palm frond at me? I ain't Jesus." I love it, dude. Big Swole's little quips are so funny. I don't know. She's just like bursting with personality. I love her.
And then she throws a piece of paper at Britt Baker and breaks her nose.
No, I believe what happens is that she throws it, Reba reacts and just like whacks Britt right in the nose. I think that's what happened.
Well, either way, Britt has got her face completely bandaged online right now because she's in dire straits. That was definitely not to probably fix her deviated septum after her other nose incident. This was completely unrelated to that. Completely. Moving on. Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho in the main event of the evening. I thought Orange had a fantastic performance as Jericho goes over. What did you think? I'm torn. Because on one hand, I like Orange Cassidy, and on the other hand, I feel like I'm seeing too much of him, and I feel like he's being hurt by the lack of crowd. Well, I don't know if they don't really have any other... I don't know if they're willing to just take that weight off of Orange Cassidy and set some of it on Colt Cabana. I don't know if they're willing to do that because I don't even know if Colt Cabana's signed. I'm pretty sure Colt Cabana's signed. Since he's in a program to join.
I would say so. I would say they probably offered him a contract.
So they should probably take some of the weight off of Orange Cassidy when it comes to comedy. Put on Colt Cabana.
But like
Maybe
Orange is kind of moving away from comedy though in his matches a little bit more and more here and there,
which I'm not the most thrilled about. For me, the interesting part of Orange Cassidy is like him.
Well, you can't not you've been building this up for literal years.
I know.
They even said that when he did the 2 soft kicks and then he really did a kick.
That spot was perfect.
And they said went for the long play or that was so well
played
done.
The waiting game. Yeah, dude, that moment was sick. But
right.
That was well done, but
I don't know.
You can't just do that long time, or it's gonna become the back body drop syndrome, where you constantly go for the back body drop and it's like, what's he gonna do?
The dude leans over and just gets kicked right in the mouth every single time.
Or it's like when you do a springboard move against Randy Orton, it's like,
of course he's gonna RKO you, dude. You left the ground.
Right.
I don't know. I also feel weird about Jericho going over. Like, I get it conceptually. Because
what does Jericho gain by going over Orange Cassidy?
Well, I think it was less that and more that if Orange Cassidy went over, he should be ranked as a singles competitor. You know what I mean? Because Jericho's undefeated this year, at the very least.
Right.
So if Orange Cassidy goes over, that is a major, major win for him in singles competition.
Right.
And I don't know if they want him in that scene.
Right, because he's still the manager of a faction.
Yeah, best friends. He's hanging out with them. He's not. I don't see him going after a title.
Right, and like you said too, to your point, you don't want him in matches all the time anyway, because what he does would get old. So for him to do well in this match, slide away, and then get into something with somebody else down the road a month from now makes more sense than him wrestling again next week.
Yeah, I agree. The match was all right though.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the New Japan Cup final was this morning. Jared woke up and watched it for us. Can we get a quick review?
I woke up and I was immediately crushed and disappointed, and I felt sad.
That's a great way to start off your day.
Oh, well, we'll start. I watched the 2 singles matches on this card, which was Grandmaster Master Wato, which is the returning young lion Kawato versus Doki. It was all right. I mean, I think Master Wato, I can't the name. Wato has a cool moveset. His execution with his kicks is sometimes a little bit lacking, but that's something that can be improved with time. And his finisher is evidently a spiral tap, so that's kind of dope, actually.
Absolutely.
I don't love his gear. I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing holding him back, because it's like the weird blue.
Yes.
He could do well, depending on booking and depending on where they want to slot him.
And the vignettes they shot for him were so good until the last one, where he's, because
the kicks did not look great.
But the way the forests look in those videos, they're so green, and the trees are so tall, and you've seen a million different
training montages and stuff
in those scenarios, right? And so it made sense. And then all of a sudden he's like the one before he takes the ring, he's slow-mo punching, and you can't tell for sure if it's slow-mo or not. And then he comes to the ring and
looking like he just went through a Willy Wonka machine.
Oh, it's like everything was great, right? Until we needed it to be great, right? But okay, now what happened?
They put him in a program with like the jobber of New Japan,
right?
I don't know. It was a weird choice. The match turned out fine. Doki also Doki has like a really cool moveset. When you watch the match, you'll kind of get what I mean. His finisher's real cool too. It's like a wheelbarrow half Nelson suplex.
Yeah.
It's kind of dope. But Wato came out looking all right here. I'd say I'm more positive on him than I was, just because now I know that, okay, this guy can go a little bit.
Right.
More than a little bit. I'm not being entirely fair to him.
Right.
But we'll see with his look. I don't know. I don't know where his trajectory is going to take him.
Right.
We'll see.
Now, what's next on the show?
The next was the New Japan Cup final, Okada versus Evil. I feel like first off, before I mention any of the things that happened, I did not think the match was incredibly good.
Okay.
I felt like it was very long.
Okay.
And it didn't do a whole lot.
Okay.
That being said, it was kind of a means to an end because my boy Yujiro Takahashi, huge, he comes out with Gato and puts the hurting on Okada. And Evil eventually, after a little bit more struggle, just nails Okada, stomps him right between the legs.
Right.
Just really puts a hurting on his...
Which has been his go-to move the whole tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And he pulls out the everything is evil and gets the 1, 2, 3, and then Bullet Club comes out.
So for Okada to lose, the Bullet Club had to jump him. He had to get hit in the nuts. And he had to hit the finisher.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're booking him Cena-like.
I think this is a good example for a broader discussion, but I think that one of the major traits of a lot of companies in the last pretty long while is booking. You have, like, to make someone a superstar, you kind of have to book them like Cena. It worked for Cena. It worked for Hogan. It's worked for Okada. Mm-hmm. Okada's the guy. Making him dominant is not a bad thing.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. But I just don't love interference in a lot of ways, and that's like the one thing holding me back.
See, I've never understood, though, why, too. See, that the broader conversation, right, is why does every match have to end in some kind of finisher? And lately, I know in WWE lately they've done a lot of roll-up finishes. And I think that's their way out. Sometimes it's on a distraction or whatever. But I wouldn't mind if you had, why can't Okada get caught in a roll-up every now and then?
He got hit with the Darkness Falls onto a pile of chairs. That you could have pinned him off that, I think.
Yeah, why do we have to wait for the finisher finish? A. B. If he's human, why can't he lose? Not just Okada. If he's human, why can't he lose after he lands on chairs? It's like and I hate to bring this up because it's the other show. We don't usually do wrestling here. I liked the Keith Lee Adam Cole match. I liked it a lot. But Adam Cole at the end kicks him 4 or 5 times in the head and then hits his finisher and he kicks out. And it's like, dude,
I get it. He's Keith Lee,
but it would have. But if Adam Cole was supposed to win the match, it would have been the same thing on the other side. You know what I mean? So why can't it be good enough? Is Keith Lee not a tough, strong, superhuman if he kicks out of all of Adam Cole's finishes with just one super kick in the middle of it? And that's what I mean by this too. Again, to me, you can be booked, and maybe I'm wrong, but as a fan, I can see a guy being booked strong and still lose every now and then someone.
If he gets dropped on a pile of chairs, that doesn't make him not tough.
Right. It's fighting. You know what I mean? That's what Justin and I had a conversation earlier today before we filmed. If you watch the UFC, it's hard for a great fighter to win 4 fights in a row because things happen in fights. And you can be the greatest fighter in the world and get caught.
You can get kicked right in the face.
And when you're allowed to draw in ropes, ring posts, chairs, tables, random bodies, referees, there's ways to come up for oops, he just lost. You know what I mean? And it can be okay. But I get it because it did work for Cena. And therefore it's going to work for everybody else until somebody accidentally gets over in a different way.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Because, okay, go ahead, though. And so Evil winds up winning on that. And then the big stuff, like you said, means to an end happens after.
Naito comes out and he's like,
Your world champ.
Yes.
And
double
in the
champ.
Same faction.
He comes out, he rolls out, and he's like, I love this new tactics you've been showing.
Yes.
Let's have a good match. He says something to that effect. He goes for the LIJ fist in the air.
Yes.
Evil does it and then turns into the 2 sweet symbol and then puts the whooping on Naito. Hits him with the finisher.
Goosebumps.
And then Bullet Club comes out and they start to, they do the low 2 sweet around Okada's, Naito's
prone body.
Broken corpse.
Yes.
And then the rest of LIJ comes running out.
Right.
Which I thought like with Naito at Wrestle Kingdom after he got attacked by Kenta, Bushi trotted out. You know what I mean? Like, because LIJ lets them fight their own battles. If you're getting a whooping put on you, they'll run out. But like if it's just like one dude, oh well. You know,
Yeah, right.
That's your struggle.
Right.
It's not like so much a callous thing as it is. I don't know, man. LIJ is just like a weird brotherhood, and I feel like that's why this hurts more than anything.
Also, there's pride in fighting your own battles.
Absolutely. I mean, Naito. That's what Naito wants.
Right.
Naito wants to fight his own battles.
Right.
But this betrayal by Evil, it hurts.
Right.
And
now
you could tell because they all sprinted out there. Hiromu was like there.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Evil had not gone to the nut shots a lot before this tournament.
No, he had always been the heeliest of LIJ because he would always do the chair spots, whether it be Darkness Falls onto a pile of chairs or he puts it around their head and then swings for the fences. But
baseball
no,
fan.
Not cheating to yes he is, but not like low blows. No.
Right. So to me,
he would also dig in people's eye sockets and stuff. But that's different kind of cheating. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. But to me, well, in wrestling, for whatever reason, shots to the nuts are the most evil thing you can do.
It's
right?
like a stab to the heart. You know what I mean?
It is in many ways. But what I feel like Evil starting that in this tournament was kind of a hint. Things are a little different. And as it continues, as he doubles down on it and doubles down on it and doubles down on it, maybe we should have seen it coming. But when I didn't get to watch the match, but the first thing I did when I woke up was look to see who won.
Right.
And when I saw him go too sweet over the top of his hand, I was like, wow.
Bro.
Heel turn. I loved it. And I don't know if heel turn's the wrong word because he's kind of a heel anyway, but it was a betrayal and it worked and it felt like a surprise. And in pro wrestling, they gave you, when somebody gives you hints but can still get you,
oh my God,
that's impossible nowadays.
And part of that is like the long-term booking of LIJ guys, where during a tournament, when they do the roll call with the fist in the air, some of them don't. Sonata, Evil, sometimes they just don't.
Right.
Shingo didn't do it, and Evil didn't do it during this tournament.
Right.
They do that every single tournament, and that's not a thing because everyone always goes, "Oh man, are they leaving?" And it's like,
that's just them.
Up until this exact point, it has never
been an issue
because it's just it's part of they're fighting their own battles, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna have to fight at some point in this tournament. I'm gonna have to throw down against you, and I got to be ready.
Right.
I got to be ready to give it my all.
Right. Now the other trick to this is we have Evil is now going to wrestle for the title tomorrow, I believe, against
Naito. Yeah.
Naito, and that's Dominion, I believe.
Dominion, yes.
Okay, so we'll have that happen tomorrow. Now, another interesting thing though is we had a tag team, Sonata and Evil, which was pretty significant tag team over the years. Now they've split up too, according to this. And so now you have Sonata who's free to go on his own and maybe get that push as well. So that could also, even if Naito were to win,
I mean, yes.
an offshoot of this could also be him having to go through Sonata by the breaking up of this tag team. So we have so much. New Japan's the greatest.
Dude, I think there's like broader
ramifications in that even?
for Bullet Club as well.
Yeah.
Just because now they have... I don't think that some of the Bullet Club members are going to be in Japan during this year.
Right.
Because
Jay White.
Jay White's in,
this was the real ramification here is we don't have Jay White and we need something like that right now, right?
Jay White's
so
not
they
there,
had to bring
Fale's
in Evil.
not there. Kenta, I think, can technically come back because he's a Japanese citizen, but he's also currently in Florida.
Okay.
Dude, so they might not let him come back because it's like busted.
You wouldn't want nobody from Florida in your country right now.
Kenta can, man, dude, it's busted here.
Yeah.
But them having another kind of... I feel like LIJ may have been getting a tad bit too top heavy.
Yeah.
Where it was just like a bunch of really, really high tier competitors and Bushi.
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And with
I like Bushi too. That's a shame.
I know. I mean, Bushi's a former junior heavyweight champion. He's had a bunch of matches. But with Shingo rotating in, he's like, I feel like it was getting a bit too top heavy. And with Bullet Club, I feel like they could use another source of legitimacy.
Right. So we had a great week.
Dude, yes. I'm crushed. I'm disappointed. I've been worked. I did, dude. I felt like legitimately crushed.
Right.
I'm not even angry at Evil, dude. I'm just disappointed.
Right.
I'm like, man, I know it's tough and I know you weren't finding success, but is this really the path you're taking?
Right. Everybody joins the Bullet Club.
It's like, it's the cheap way out, man.
It's also the cheap way to success.
Hey, you know what? Hey, their formula works.
It's proven, you know?
I feel like I shouldn't have expected.
And it's the cheap way to his wife.
Yes. Now you can hang out with Kenta in Florida with his wife.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the long play.
Dude, listen, he did that because he needs to keep kayfabe alive.
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes to Florida, he needs to hang out with Kenta because he's Bullet Club.
Do the too sweet. I'm living my gimmick.
He's living the gimmick. Dude, they really do keep kayfabe alive in a certain sense with New Japan, where like Chaos members hang out with Chaos members and stuff like that.
That is cool.
I'm certain they bleed over because I see pictures of them.
Right.
But for the most part, when you see publicly posted pictures, it's them hanging out with stablemates and occasionally Red Shoes.
You enjoyed your wrestling this week.
I love wrestling, dude.
Okay.
I love wrestling.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's great.
Right. Ray, you got anything to add?
Ray, do you love wrestling?
No, wrestling is awful.
Oh,
well,
a big hot take from the Go Home Heat King.
I don't know why I'm still here, actually. I'm just kind of like most of Twitter, where I just absolutely hate wrestling, but I just keep talking about it for some weird reason.
You talk about it every single day.
I need to be angry. I'm going to stay angry. I'm going right back to wrestling Twitter.
Yes, dude. I'm about to @Seth Rollins and like send him a nasty message.
Right.
And then I'm going to praise Chris Jericho. You know, you love it.
Dude, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, dude, Cody Rhodes is such a better storyteller than Triple H could imagine, man.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And then I'm going to go post before I even look at the results of the final.
Dude, Cody Rhodes even blades better than Triple H, man. It's crazy.
Well, Triple H never, ever bladed, so there's that.
It was always hard way, fella.
I don't know.
Mick Foley's potatoes split him wide open. But,
Batista's brutal punches.
Did you find it interesting that Tony Khan kind of went on a rant?
I find it annoying, and I find it pointless.
And Jericho does
that
too,
dude's a
every
billionaire,
week.
Dog, get off Twitter. Go buy a yacht.
Well,
what are you doing on Twitter, dog?
I get that he's incredibly invested, and I get that Jericho. I don't get Jericho. No, I don't get it. I don't get why they're even talking about it. Because first of all, at this point, he's got Meltzer, who's the voice of all this, defending him anyway. And Meltzer goes out of his way every week to explain that the demo that matters is the one that AEW wins. That should be good enough. Tony shouldn't have to,
dude.
And
just thin-skinned, and it gives me a headache.
TNT just gave them more money to do more years, so he doesn't have to explain that TNT is okay. Jericho doesn't have to explain that he's still winning in his demo. Jericho doesn't realize he's a star yet.
It's petty, dog. It's petty and it's thin-skinned and it's like...
You know what it is, too? It's kind of WWE-ish. It's what we've always accused them of being, right?
It really is.
You know what I mean? And when they're doing it, too, it's like... Well, and when the other side isn't doing it as much, it really feels weird. You know, because Hunter's kind of dropped out of all that. He doesn't... I think he also knows that whatever he says... is a lightning rod, right? Yeah. So he'll just kind of stay above the fray on that.
Dude, they can say freaking anything, dude. Dude, like Nick Jack, dude. They could have had somebody could have said a very, very bad thing in 2012. No one would bat an eye. Hunter tweeted something bad in 2012.
Well, Hunter gets that stuff back. Because, dude, Hunter trust me, he did say something bad in 2012 and 10 and 9 and 8. And his whole heel career, he walked.
Dude, if Hunter tweeted something bad in 2012, it would have been brought up already.
It has been, though. Trust me, dude.
He'll bring up his blackface quite often.
Right. Yeah. And you can't argue for it. You just can't. You know what I mean? And so, again, that's probably exactly why he just sits up there and does his work and keeps his mouth shut. You know,
Dude, listen. The moral of the story is to delete Twitter. That's the straight moral of the story.
not for me, man. I giggle.
You get a high off.
I
of it. You're
giggle
like,
all day long. I'm like, look at this man. He has everything in the world. He literally grew up wishing he could be Eric Bischoff with Ted Turner's money.
And
He is, and he's still mad.
It's like long.
It's great. He literally has created a traveling party. He rolls around with a duffel bag full of
And it's good. It's
full
great.
of his favorite drink to share with his coworkers after every match.
His coworkers, who are like, one of which is Chris Jericho, who he grew up watching. Like,
Right.
He's living the life. Why are you complaining on Twitter?
And he even gets to write the scripts. He sits there. He's living his dream.
Okay, dude.
Good for him.
I don't know.
Right.
Again, it's just one of those things where it's like, why just.
And he's doing great. We love what he does.
And also,
Everybody loves what he does.
There was another, not very. Dave Meltzer recently tweeted something that Jared brought up. The question was, who is the most influential wrestler?
I thought this was an interesting question.
Oh, we covered that on the other one. We can do it again.
Oh, you
here,
did?
Though.
I dig Nick's answer to that. Dave Meltzer said Rey Mysterio was.
I'd say
stylistically, wrestling-wise, I would agree.
absolutely Rey Mysterio. There's just no one.
But swagger-wise, Eddie Guerrero.
Well, Rey Mysterio, I see a lot more people similar to Rey Mysterio than I do people similar to Eddie Guerrero.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stop both y'all. Ain't nobody similar to Eddie Guerrero.
Ain't nobody.
In any way,
that's the
shape,
point.
or
That's the
form.
problem.
And there's only been one Rey Mysterio. Rey Fenix is something different,
He is phenomenal, though.
but there's something to be said for being the first. And I'll say this though, Phoenix is as close as anybody's ever come.
Do you believe? No, we're probably gonna. Episode's gonna be too long if we freaking.
What do I
ran
believe?
on.
What?
But do you agree with Meltzer that Rey Mysterio is the most influential wrestler to this generation?
I think we can't leave HBK out of it completely.
I think
not
that
HBK.
it depends on what you're talking about, right? Because what are you talking about? You're talking about who's inspired the most wrestlers.
Because HBK inspired Rey Mysterio.
Probably not.
No,
They're probably,
but they did.
Ray was probably inspired by other luchadors. His family. He's a second generation guy, right?
El Santos.
Yeah, but the point is that Ray made it possible for an entirely different sized performer. Because Sean was smaller,
He's
not
like 6
small.
foot, though, you know what I mean?
Not small. You know what I mean? And if you grew up and you were pretty good on a trampoline, all of a sudden it was possible for you to at least maybe could get a job in this business. And if you were smaller or whatever. And also I think Ray opened up the doors for the world. All of a sudden if you bring in any guy from Mexico, I automatically assume he's good because I said this on the other podcast. I automatically assume he's good because they usually are.
Yeah, dude, lucha dudes are crazy.
Right. I would have never watched a AAA event if at some point I didn't start watching Ray and will follow his career. And I also think that the Mexico stigma of being really good lended credibility to Japan as well, because you assume if this big company, now AEW, now WWE, is willing to bring this person over here and give them money, they must be good.
Yes.
Now, it's only been the last 2 to 3 years where I've actually gotten to watch that guy prior to coming over. You know what I mean? Before then, I was having to assume, and I think you can trace that assumption to Rey Mysterio, Cruiserweight, WCW. And so I do think in that way, yes. You know what I mean?
I think that wraps it up, right?
That does wrap it up.
Yes.
Great week
Sorry
of
that
pro
we
wrestling.
got a little off topic.
That's the point. That is the topic. Topic's wrestling. Pro wrestling has been wonderful for us this week. We appreciate you. For Jared, New Japan Jared, Go Home Heat Kid Ray. From EKP, copyright 2020 Go Home Heat production. Go home.